Hello everybody, it is August 2nd. Welcome to the reading vlog part of stuff because I think I'm separating things for Create-a-thon and reading. I think that's a smart idea. Anyway, I finished my first book so far, and that is Full Moon by Jim Butcher. This is the second book in the Dresden Files, and I really don't like these books very much. I've been told it gets better so many times, and I just don't know if I have the capacity in me to keep going because I cannot stand Harry Dresden. I can't stand him. He is so unlikable, and just it's the justification of his chivalry, whatever, that he thinks that he has when it's really chauviny. And even though it's like he recognizes it but doesn't care, and I'm so sick of just every single female character coming on the screen and being rated by their sexiness, kind of, and just described, and a lot of them, you know, though their tactic for distraction is to take off their clothes, like that kind of crap. I don't like it. I don't like it, and not a single female in this is not described in some way as attractive to him, and I'm just kind of over it. Like, I'm really, he scares me because I know guys who love Harry Dresden, like the guys who go out there and cosplay Harry Dresden. Those are the types of guys who do the milady thing, or they, you know, oh, chivalry is dead, nice guys finish last kind of bullshit. I'm in the friend zone, that kind of crap. Y'all, that's not, it's not, trust me, it's not that you're nice, it's that you're a chauvinist. It just drives me insane, and I don't know, I'm going to discuss this with Fee, because Fee is the one who wants me to keep reading this series. I have one more of the books. Do I give a third book a chance, or do I say, fuck it? I am team fuck around and find out, but, yeah, in other news, I got in a car accident today, so that's been super fun. I got rear-ended. This is the second time someone's rear-ended me. This was not as bad as the first time I got rear-ended way back in school. But, oh man, I'm still sore. My whole shoulder here is very, very sore and stuff. It's rough. What a day. What a day. All right. On to the next book. Hello everybody, it's August 4th. And we finished listening to a book not on the TBR again, but that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I liked this so much more than I thought I would. I went in thinking this was just going to be another standard contemporary romance, but it was like kind of fighting against the usual tropes of like the quirky, cute protagonist who falls in love with the, you know, country guy or whatever. It goes against that because they're book agents and editors, these two. Agent, editor, and they're kind of a little bit of nemesis in the office. They don't know each other very well. And she's the trope of being the woman that in like standard contemporary romances the guy is dating, and then the cute quirky protagonist comes in and breaks them up, basically because she's, you know, the one for him, while she's the cold-hearted, you know, city girl who doesn't have a heart kind of thing. And it's kind of like, it's her love story and stuff, and it's more than that though, because it's also a story about sisters. It is also a story about trauma. It is also a story about like so many different levels to this that I was not expecting going in, and it made me feel things I didn't expect to feel, and I feel called out a little bit, and I really related to both of these characters in different ways, but like I feel like I am their child. Honestly, just from the way that their stuff, how they interact and their personalities and stuff. So these are my mom and dad. My new mommy and daddy. But yeah, I loved this. I'm actually giving it 5 stars because it even gave me the good happy ever after. It gave me time to like relish in everything throughout the book, and a really decent epilogue, and I was really happy with this one. I was not expecting to love this. This is the first Emily Henry book. I do own Beach Read. I have not read it yet. I don't own People We Meet on Vacation, but I'm like, okay, might prioritize reading Emily Henry books now. Might do that. Cool. What do you think? Did you like the book? Did you? Okay. There's that. Also, we have a new bookshelf, but I haven't filled it yet. Give me time. Hello for the reading vlog. We have finished another book. We just finished My Contrary Mary by the Lady Janie, Cynthia, Brodi, Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. I'm so glad I finally got to read this one. 5 stars. All of these books have really been 5 stars. I think the only one I didn't give 5 stars to is My Plain Jane, but I think the rest of them have all been 5 stars. They're just so fun, and there were so many ever after references in this. I was not expecting that, and I freaking love Ever After. It is one of my go-to movies. It's one I just watch, like whenever I just need to put something on. It's usually Ever After. That is one of the top 3 go-to movies for me to just put on, or if I need a quick boost of serotonin, watch some Ever After. If you've never seen Ever After, starring DeGray Scott and Drew Barrymore, Angelica Houston's in it as well, like, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Definitely an all-time favorite. There were so many references, and I just cackled during that. There were a lot of Princess Bride references as well. There's just so many fun parts of this that are you know, references to our current pop culture. That's one of the things that makes these books so enjoyable, is kind of imagining our world back then, and like our terminology, our things like they had BYOC, which is bring your own candle for a funeral thing. It's just hilarious stuff like that. So I love this series. It does take place in the same world as My Lady Jane. You do not have to have read My Lady Jane to read this one, though. It definitely stands alone. We do get a little cameo of them, but you don't need to have read that to understand this one. I definitely recommend reading all of the books. Here's the other 3 on the back, especially My Calamity Jane, because that's my all-time favorite so far of these. It's not quite as good as My Calamity Jane, in my opinion, but I'm biased because I love Annie Oakley so much. So there's that. But I loved this. I really love these series. I can't wait for My Imaginary Mary, which comes out later this year, I think in November, and it's so good. Yay! This is the first official book on the TBR to be completed, so doing good. I mean, it's only August 6th, so yes, we're doing good. Don't judge me. Hello everybody, it is August 7th, and we have just finished reading in a whole day I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is Casey McQuiston's newest book that came out this year. It is her first YA book, and I was really hesitant about this one. I did still really like it. I just find that I really like Casey McQuiston's writing. I like her storytelling. I love her character building. She makes really complete characters. Very 3-dimensional, even I would say 15-dimensional characters, especially Shara Wheeler here. Because throughout this book, I found myself on a roller coaster of emotions about how I felt about all of these characters, and especially about Shara Wheeler. And you kind of ride with Chloe on that. Yeah, I felt myself very aligned with Chloe on a lot of things, and her reaction to Shara and why Shara was doing the things. So if you don't know about this book, Shara Wheeler is like the creme of the crop, kind of perfect girl at this Christian academy kind of thing, that her father is the principal of, and Chloe is a girl from California who is bisexual and out and proud in this very Bible town, basically. And it's interesting because they have an academic rivalry between them, and Shara then just disappears and has kissed not only Chloe, kissed her boyfriend and kissed the boy next door just randomly before she leaves, and leaves them these cryptic messages, and kind of on this big scavenger hunt to figure out where she is and all this stuff. And it's very interesting because you go in just hearing the plot, I'm like, is this going to be some kind of dark mystery thing? Like, where like, is she killed herself? What is this? Did she run away? What is happening? But it's not. It's nothing dark and creepy like that. But I was hesitant going into it because of that. But it was basically a big story about all of these different characters learning more about themselves and being comfortable with themselves and their own identities. We have a variety of identities in this, and I really liked that we got to kind of see all these different angles and stories, and and these very flawed characters, especially Shara Wheeler. So I was going in, like, I'm reading this and I'm like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this girl, she's the worst, and why are we bothering with this? Why is nobody doing these things? And the answers eventually come, obviously. But there was a long struggle of just like, am I actually gonna hate a Casey McQuiston book? And the thing is, no, I am not. But I was worried that it wouldn't be like an amazing read. Now, I'm not gonna give it 5 stars, but I probably will give it 4.5. Just in general, because it is very quick, and I don't know why. There's just something about it that's like, this is not my 5-star read. It's not one that I'm, of the Casey McQuistons, it's not the one that I'm gonna go back to the most, or tab it. Like, I've tabbed both One Last Stop and Red, White, and Royal Blue. This does have some good lines that maybe I would tab, but I'd have to find them. So there's definitely some good lines in here that I would like to tab, but not to the point where I'm like, I need to do this, or this is a book that I want to read again and again and again. And that's really my 5-star criteria. So I will give this at least 4. I was fine with Casey McQuiston going into YA. I was a little weirded by it. I'm a little scared by it, I should say, not weirded out by it. Just because when authors go from one, you know, age group to the next, I'm always hesitant about what does that mean for them? How do they interpret what it means for their book to be adult versus YA? Because there's a lot of ways people go about describing YA, and I'm always hesitant about that, because a lot of people don't get it, and they think YA is a very, very certain thing. That's annoying to me. But anyway, so yes, so here is Shara Wheeler. I did like it a lot. It was a good audiobook as well. I think it's Natalie Natta who read it, and she's one that I know I've heard her voice before, and I think she did a really good job with it. Yeah, and it's not one of those, like, one of my friends, one of the reasons he doesn't like to read YA is because he's always like, where are the parents in this? And it's like, there's a reason the parents are not actively doing their stuff, and it is explained. But for a while I was like, why aren't the parents doing anything? And you find out why. So yay. All right, well, I have to get back to doing all the stuff for Create-a-thon, but that is now the 4th book we've finished, and I'm about to start 2 books that are not on the official TBR because they dropped and I want to read them. Hello everybody. It is August 7th. I've finished reading Promises Left for Dead. This was one of the 3 I can't talk. I'm flabbergasted and tired and exhausted and just angry at this book. So this is Promises Left for Dead by Beckham, Lawre. Now, I picked this up at a Mile High Con several years ago, and her table was listed as a teen author, and this is gonna, I feel like I'm being so mean in my thoughts about this book because, yes, she was a teenager when she wrote this. Now, that's not really the issue. The issue is that someone let her publish it. And I'm more angry at, like, the adults around her than her. Because, like, yes, as a teenager, I would have written this book. I probably have similar old books that are blatant ripoffs of popular media, which is what this is. This is written by a person who was obsessed with Divergent and specifically Mockingjay from the Hunger Games. That's exactly what this book is. There are so many scenes that are just straight copy pasted. The characters straight. copy pasted / combos. Like the love interest in this is a combination of Katniss and 4. I shit you not. He even has the silver arrows that Katniss has. We do the fake betrayal that 4 does. His broody pest, and if I have to hear one more time about his goddamn blue eyes with one random adjective in front of it, his brilliant blue eyes, his soul-piercing blue eyes, his bewildering blue eyes, like, I fucking get it, he has blue eyes. Okay, sorry, I am in kind of a rage about this book because so much of this is just blatant theft. Now, that's fine as a teen writer to write something like this and keep it to yourself as an exercise in learning how to write and developing things. But there is very much zero world building in this. There is zero character development in this. It's just one-dimensional nonsense that is just stealing straight from popular media, and it should not have been published. And I'm like, on the one hand, like if I were a parent of a teen kid who was very excited about, you know, writing a whole book, I'd be like, yeah, great job, honey. But we don't publish it. Because if for some reason this book ever got, you know, popular or a lot of people reading it, which it doesn't have a lot of reviews, people would tear this teen apart and destroy this teen's confidence in herself. And I feel like I'm also like slightly doing that because I have a pretty scathing review of this. Now, I have such conflicted emotions about giving you guys any information about this book and reviewing it, and just the kind of anger I just spent, you know, reading this book. I purchased this book because I wanted to support a teen author because, yay, good job, you did something a lot of adults don't do, so I commend you for that. I will commend her for her writing, like the actual prose wise, like it's decent writing. Yes, it's a teenager writing. I would say it's a skilled teenager writing. It's not just regular teenager writing who doesn't care about literature or anything. Like, clearly she likes to write. She understands how writing a book kind of works, understands cliffhangers for one, but understands how dialogue functions, but not description. There is very little description in this, and so when you're reading a scene and then, oh, conveniently this is also there. Like, I just read a scene where she was like zapped backwards into a room that kind of appears around her, and then a page later, oh, there also is a chair there that we're gonna use. Like, where did the chair come from? Where did that, it just manifested, because I thought you were zipped back in a hallway that had walls form around you, so where's the chair? Yeah, I have pages on my notes app, so much scrolling for this. Yeah. Like, there's literally just, there's so many problems of just not thinking through and not having like a developmental editor, not having somebody check this girl in what she's writing. Because, like, literally one of the first notes I have in here is Legacy. Her name is Legacy, by the way. I'll get to the names. Legacy gets pummeled in a fight and then is up and about with guys calling her hot. Logistically, that does not work. We had very one-dimensional characters. The names alone, like, it seems like some names were thought about and other names were key smashed. We have random side characters that never get any page time, and we're just like, there's one character, and of course it's Japanese name, but it's Japanese, two Japanese first names, Katashi Hisuki. And I guarantee you she is pronouncing it Katashi Hisuki. I bet you she's doing that. But that's, you know, whatever. But zero research. We hear only about this guy. We never see him except for like one moment. But he doesn't have any dialogue. He's supposedly the crush of this other side character. But also we keep thinking that this character has a relationship, not a relationship, but like secret feelings for another more main predominant character, but that's never touched on because, spoiler alert, she dies. Which honestly, well done for that one. I didn't think Beckham Lawre had the guts to kill off any of her characters because plot armor galore in this book. There's so much plot armor. So many of these characters should have died so many times. Plot armor, plot armor, plot armor. Yeah. And then her brother's name is Ensign. Now, in the beginning of this, I thought she was addressing him by the title of Ensign in the army, because we're going into an army, the warrior division. But no, his name is Ensign. So her name is Legacy and his name is Ensign. What kind of parents did they have that named them this? Now, the other names, no one else really has like a word name. I guess there's a character named Genesis at one point, but it's not important. But everyone else has these weird ass names. Like we have Sorrel, we have Kalo, who's the love interest, who is foreign Katniss. We have just these very random names that there's no culture building here, okay? There's just zero world building with names. It bothered the crap out of me. Yep, we get into, oh yeah, this, there's no chapter 13. I don't know if this is a superstition thing, because we had a chapter 12 and a half, and it goes to 14. Why? Why? Are we superstitious? Is that a thing? I don't know. My battery's gonna die and I'm not gonna have enough time to talk about all the terrible notes that I have. But yes, there's so much stolen from Divergent. There's so much stolen from Mockingjay. We have a very bad caricature of a first villain who was pedophilic, perverse, violence against women, violence against children. Absolute stupidest guy I've ever seen on page. And just absolute caricature. And then we go into the Katniss Rue situation where she meets a tiny little girl who's also in the warrior division at 8 years old somehow, but knows nothing, is not trained at all, is just there to be a child. And I don't think Beckham Lawre necessarily understands 8-year-olds at all and their level of intelligence, because Chauncey, the character, reads like she's 4. And apparently we're gonna sing to her and we're gonna imprint that way. There's a lot of fighting and hospital stuff, and suddenly she has to address the nation. We go straight into Mockingjay. We have the technology to broadcast to the entire nation in this bunker. Like, we just happen to have all of this ready and set up, along with makeup artists, of course. And she delivers a perfect speech, and everyone, because she kills this chancellor guy, suddenly she's gonna lead an entire revolution, naturally. That's not how this works at all. And yeah, and she's just expected to lead everything and be the chief commander. She has no military experience. She has 0 experience. She barely has anything in this warrior division. We don't get any real backstory from her as well. It's just a mess. It is a mess of bad, non-existent world building, of bad character creation. Things come in when they're convenient to come in. It's very poorly written and needs a developmental editor, and also just not to have been published, honestly. And I feel bad saying that, but that's honestly how I feel. This should have just been something that as a teenager you wrote and you kept it, you know, to look back on later as you develop your writing skills and go on to then publish something that's actually, you know, original and not blatantly ripping off of Hunger Games and Divergent. It's just that. And so there's literal just random stuff in here that it feels like she just wanted to throw in because, oh, that was in Hunger Games, I should have that. There's a moment where we have these things called Vipers, which are basically mutations also mixed with Tracker Jackers, and they're there for a second. There was no battery cutting me off. Yeah, I wasn't gonna continue. I was gonna let it just drain, but I have to get this stuff out. I have to vent this out of me. So talking about the Viper things, which are these dogs that are vicious and have poisonous bites, and she gets bit, starts having a reaction of like hallucinogenic, kind of very Tracker Jacker moment, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Nothing. She's fine. We're on the run again. We're back to being very clear-headed. It did absolutely nothing. There was no point to it. Oh yeah, we literally stole the Katniss Peeta will you stay moment, stay with me moment with her and Kalo. Yeah. We suddenly the character of Sorrel this is one of those where I'm like, did you key smash? Who's her like roommate friend. Suddenly she's a bookworm. That wasn't established at all. There's just like these random convenient things that keep getting brought up. There's no actual establishment of these characters and who they really are. There was also at the beginning, her brother had a girlfriend and that they immediately broke up. There was no point to this girlfriend. This girlfriend is never heard from again. There is just absolutely no point to this. Right, there was no point. Also, we have a moment where we have this assassin and she's supposed to kill the assassin, but the assassin's like, please don't, I have a family. And she's like, okay, I won't. And then he goes to hug her and then tries to stab her. I'm like, okay, if they caught the assassin, would they not have searched him? How did he get a knife? Would they not have done that? Legacy spends so much time resting in the hospital. Like, this girl has done nothing to prove herself worthy of any of the leadership they have given her. She's done one thing, and that was shoot a bad guy in the head because he was killing children and also was a pedophile. Like, he literally ordered all of the children in this parade to be murdered right there because they were laughing. Because they're children. Like, what a terrible caricature of a villain. Like, it was so unbelievable. And like, everyone kills all the children except Runner, her friend Runner, who chooses not to. So like, all of her friends have just murdered children because they were ordered to. And she's the only one who questioned that order and then kills the Chancellor and starts this big rebellion that she now leads, even though she is a 17-year-old girl who has no experience. Like, I get it, you want her to be Katniss, but she not, okay? Katniss, we at least had a backstory for, who was skilled. This girl don't have that. We don't get any of the backstory until way later, and it's only briefly mentioned that, oh, she had a mentor who was an electrician. Convenient, because now she needs to know about wires to get out of the cell that she's trapped in, which also doesn't work because the camera would not be hooked up to the door system. That... it's just so much convenience. It drives me so mad. And then, like, she doesn't get any kind of defense training until page 300, when she's already well into leading this rebellion. Now she's like, I think I should learn self-defense. Now you think that? Yeah, she spends, and there's a repetitiveness to all the inner monologues with her. I'm not worthy of this. I can't lead this. But then the second someone questions her leadership, she's like, how dare you tell me I can't run this revolution? How dare you? It's my revolution. And then 2 seconds later, oh, I can't run this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, bitch, you can't run this. Like, they have points. There are other side characters here that I know she's building to make a villain. Like, there's a character named Raid, who is obviously Alma Coin from Hunger Games, and who's bloodthirsty and is very, again, one-dimensional, just loves explosions or whatever. It's terrible, but she's constantly like leading this revolution while Legacy is in the hospital and stuff, and she's taken like 90% of the duties, and she's offended that Raid's doing this. But I'm like, Raid is actually experienced. Like, we've established she's a retired warrior. She knows war. Like, yeah, Raid should lead. Like, I know I'm supposed to hate this character, but I'm like, she clearly knows what she's doing. All the good things that have happened for their rebellion have been because Raid did it. Raid set up the secondary camp for in case of an attack. Raid organized all of these troops. Raid got them all of the... Like, what have you done, Legacy? Absolutely nothing. You did one thing. You shot one guy, and that's it. That's all you've done. Huh? Also, this entire time, we're supposed to be knowing that the villain is President Lamb. We never really see President Lamb, and he's the one who's messed up the country, which we don't actually see how the country's messed up. We never actually see this. We are only told that the country is messed up. How? How is it messed up? Because with the way that life goes on here, it feels just like any other first world country being led by shitty leaders who care about making money rather than, like, it's, yeah, this is life, okay? This is government. Like, I don't see full oppression that you would, like, in Hunger. I think you're just supposed to assume this is exactly like Hunger Games, where the capital people are all, we're just wasting resources and everybody not there is suffering in some way, but we never see how. We never see how. We never witness to it. But we don't actually see President until, like, very end of the book. Where do we see him? Hold on, where did it happen? 324. There's 380 some pages to this book. 324 is where we finally see a video message from this guy. Also, they make a point to note that this is not the US, obviously. This is now North America, where we've conquered Mexico and Canada and joined up. And there was once a United States, but they don't know anything about it. Who's Thomas Jefferson? We never heard of him. Oh, but we know who Genghis Khan and Hitler are. We know them. But you don't know Jefferson. You don't know those. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, I already mentioned about the stupid, bewitching, gorgeous, soul-piercing blue eyes. That was that note. They make a stupid-ass plan to kill President Lamb. It's just so dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody questions her either. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, plot armor. Runner has the most plot armor out of everyone. I'm just gonna say that. There's our convenient electrician mentor backstory on page 370. Suddenly there's a chair. Yep. Only finding out that there is a vice president on page 375 who's secretly running the ropes, and President Lamb is really a good guy. Too bad he gets shot. And then we do the entire 4 thing where Kalo is, oh, I've been working with the bad guys the whole time. Haha, just kidding, honey, I love you. We do that here. And then there's a terrible cliffhanger to the ending that just is dumb. And I'm mad. I'm just mad. There's so many problems with this book. It just should not have been published. It just shouldn't have. Someone should have told this girl, hey, don't publish this. I'm happy that she has the skill to write a full narrative here. She's written an entire trilogy for this, so well done. Still well done for that, teen author. However, you really shouldn't have published it. Like, I have stuff that I know if I had had the support around me, that people would have been like, yeah, let's publish it. And my parents would have helped me publish it or something. And then now, at the age I am, if I had published that, I would horribly regret this and never want anyone to ever read it. And someone should have stopped this from happening. Let her develop her own writing skills in private, and then when they're honed, then we publish, okay? Because, like, I get the bones of this book, even if it's totally ripped off from Divergent and Mockingjay. There's a slight bone structure in this that just wasn't developed. And if she'd had an actual mentor or somebody, not saying I should be that mentor, clearly by how much I've just ripped this, if she had a proper mentor to help her develop these skills, she could have written a good book. But in the end, it's just blatant Divergent Mockingjay fan fiction. That's what it is. So, very disappointed by it. I'm sad about it, but I said I'd always be really honest with my reviews. I'm sorry that this one probably felt meaner than my other reviews, but I don't know, I was mean about Shadow and Light too, and that's written by a grown man. So this is just my honest opinion of it. Take it or leave it. I don't want anyone to think that I'm being mean just to be mean because she's a teenager, but I wholeheartedly do not think this book should have been published. It shouldn't have. Now I have read worse books, I will say that, and again, she did have a skill for the writing itself, not the development of the characters of the world, but her actual skill in the structuring of sentences and stuff, which sounds weird to say, but like, she wrote it. There's very few typos in here. There's a couple typos I noticed, but whatever. I don't really care too much about typos, especially in indie works. They happen to everybody. She wrote her first novel at the age of 13, published it later that year. That's a big no. Age 17, she'd written and published an additional 5 books of varying lengths and styles. Novel You Hold in Your Hand was begun by Lawre when she was 14 years old, and much of its original content from those earlier days. Much of it is original content. Nothing by a 14-year-old should really be published. No, 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 no. Who lets their 14-year-old child publish something? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it, but it shouldn't have been published. I don't recommend this book. Just go watch Divergent and Hunger Games. You'll get the same thing. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry if this review came off really, really mean, but that's my honest opinion of it. Sorry, guys. I have just finished a book, and that is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. And this is a feminist mythology retelling, which I'm just kind of obsessed with, for the character of Kaikeyi, who is apparently like the villain in, I believe, the Ramayana. Is that what it's actually called? Or am I just a crazy person? I'm not sure. But she's the one who exiles Ram for 10 years, so he cannot take the throne. And so there's an old mythology, you know, obviously of this, where she's kind of the villain, and this is her side of the story kind of thing. And I really, really loved it. I think this might be my current like favorite mythology retelling that I've read, which is rough because I loved Ariadne as well, but I just loved this. I loved the storytelling aspect. I remember being about halfway through and everything's going really nice and happy things are going on. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. It's gonna go so bad later, isn't it? And it does. But I really liked her character. She's also ace. As I'm reading this and she's describing her feelings towards like her husband and around sex and things, and I'm just like, she's ace. And I forgot I labeled it in my Excel sheet as ace arrow rep, and I'm like, yes. So that was super awesome to see, and really loving that she still had this really healthy, happy marriage despite that. And you know, she had a son and all of this was going on, and it was just really great seeing her entire path and the paths around her. She has this kind of ability, because she is considered God's touch, where she can kind of manipulate the bonds between herself and other people. And she visits this place called the Binding Plane, where she can visualize how strong a bond is when one's being formed. And that is, you know, what really plays into her so-called scheming and stuff, but she's not scheming. She's trying to make the world a better place, and especially for women. And of course that angers the menfolk. And so this is just, it's another one that just makes me angry at the menfolk, even though not all the menfolk in this are awful. There are some good menfolk in this, which is nice, but it just, it makes you so angry to see the men's arguments of women, or it's too modern and not harder, women shouldn't do this, herder kind of mentality that a lot of the older men in her life are acting like, and how they're influencing the younger generation of men. So it's still a very poignant tale for the modern world, even with it being a historical, you know, classic, and well, a retelling of a classic. And I really, really love this. I believe this is a debut for Vaishnavi, and I cannot wait to see what else we get. I'm loving that. Like, I'm not totally familiar with Ramayana and that story. I know a little bit of it because I've seen excerpts of it in other media. I kind of want to read the I think it's a gigantic thing though. I think it's one of those, let's Google. Let's Google. It is Ramayana. I'm not crazy. It is a Sanskrit epic. Says Wikipedia as I'm looking up to it. It's one of the 2 most important legends of Hinduism, known as the Itihasas, other being the Mahabharata. I think I said that right, Mahabharata. I apologize if I'm not saying it wrong. But again, so being, you know, white chick in a Western world, these are not the mythology that we are often exposed to. And I'm really glad that we're, you know, getting we're diversifying our mythologies in modern retellings and stuff, because a lot of modern retellings of mythology is gonna end up Greek. Those are the popular ones. I'm not against any of the Greek retellings. I do like them. It's just, it gets oversaturated at one point. And so having a mythology outside in a non-Western culture is really interesting to see, especially when it is a feminist retelling of it, for one, and seeing those aspects of culture in this, but still being, you know, a white chick reading it. I don't know what exactly I'm trying to say here, but I really have to appreciate it, because this is not, it's not a story that I'm familiar with. It's not one that's, you know, encouraged, you know, growing up. These are not the stories that you are encouraged to read, in, you know, at least in public school in America. So even though it's taken so long for the world to get to this point of publishing books like these and promoting books like these, like, sure, there's probably been lots of other books that have been written and published, but getting them promoted and, you know, shown to the world. I'm so sorry it keeps going in and out of focus. I really need a new camera. But yeah, just absolutely loving this. I don't have any complaints, really. I'm honestly gonna give this 5 stars. I can't think of anything that I didn't like. I mean, I would really like if we could, I mean, this isn't a complaint about this. What I would like to see next is if we would continue this kind of story with Sita, and seeing a feminist retelling from Sita's point of view, with her being exiled with Ram and his abuse to her, and going through the rest of the story. And especially with her being possibly reunited with her dad without even knowing it. And I just would love, I would love to see that. I would love for that to be. I wonder is there anything else in the works? I mean, this book just came out. This came out earlier this year. I don't actually remember when. Let's take a look, hold on, at my 2022 releases. This came out April, so late April. So, I mean, obviously there's probably not gonna be anything necessarily up on Goodreads yet for whatever Patel is working on next, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see if there is anything. Also, not on the official TBR. I have a lot of books, again, that have dropped this month that are not on the official TBR, but because we're doing Create-a-thon and I'm working on so many tasks that need audiobooks, I'm just kind of like, you know what? Read them all. Read them all. Okay. So nothing so far, but absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend. A top contender this year. Right? Are you upset because I don't have the bed ready for you? Yes. Okay. Anyway. Yay! Book! Hello everybody. It is August 13th and I have finished reading Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. I read this as an ebook, which is why I'm not holding a physical copy, just the TBR. This is one of the 3 indie books that were chosen, sort of, because nobody could determine a winner for the month. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna read these 3, because there's 3 votes for each of them. We're 3-way tied. Let's do it. So I just finished this one. I loved this, though. This was so fun. I definitely need to get physical copies of these books. It's so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was just going to be a kind of standard, you know, high fantasy. Sorry, it's all blurry, but it's dark. It was so much more humorous than I thought it was going to be. I'm so sorry about the lighting. I'm trying. It's trying to find my face. I can see it doing it. You get blurry Q. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I really loved this. I really related to the characters. Their inner monologues was just very relatable. There was a lot of humor. And then there was about 3 different plots going on this whole time. And I was wondering the whole time, like, how is this going to tie into this? How is this going to tie into that? And how is it going to resolve and stuff? And it was very interesting, unique thing. I'm not entirely sold on the gnolls for it, though, which are like these badger people. I'm not really sure why they exist in this world, why they're necessary, other than just to be like, I have badger people, which it's fine. So maybe they play a bigger role in later books, but I didn't necessarily think that they had a purpose. I guess they had a little purpose in the end, but not enough to really justify them. I don't know. It felt like a weird thing, and I kept forgetting about them until somebody mentioned it randomly, and I was like, oh yeah, Knowles, those things. That was fun, but I really like the characters. Woo! Sorry, it's almost midnight here. Yeah, I really like the characters of this. That's really the driving point for me, was characters. And I'm very excited to read the next book in the series and the third book in the series. I want to read them all right now. They're very fun. They're very fast-paced, so it's easy to get through them. But yeah, it's good. So we have one more indie book to get through for our physical reads, and that is Songs of Autumn. So we will start that maybe tomorrow, maybe not, I don't know. Depends on what we roll for Create-a-thon, but that's the next book I finished. Yay! Hello everybody, it is August 14th. We have finished another book that was not on the official TBR, because that's what we're doing apparently. We're neglecting that TBR somehow. Keep saying, even though I know we're almost halfway through the month, I'm like, I got time, it'll be fine. It's gonna be a disaster. Anyway, the book I finished is The Heir Affair by Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan, which is the sequel to The Royal We, which I read recently, a couple months ago, I think, and I did enjoy that. I did enjoy this as well, even though these books are very stressful and there's so much drama upon drama upon drama, which is what it's meant to do. I do like it. There are tropes in this that I don't like, but they're well executed, so I'm not mad about them. I do wish for a few things differently, especially in terms of Freddie. I wish there had been more of him being able to fully express himself, and I don't think he got to do that, especially in terms of like really confirming between the three of them, because there's this kind of love triangle thing that happens in the first book. I wish there was more conversation. I want them all to talk, and there's a lot of the thing gets resolved with silence, and it's like, oh, the silence was enough for us to just, and I'm like, it might have, no, I don't think it was. I don't think, because even for me, I'm just like, was it enough? I think we need to talk about this. But there are some very interesting topics brought up in this book. A lot with, especially with infertility, is one of the main themes of this one, and that was very interesting to see, because you don't hear a lot, you don't see a lot of infertility topics that don't like, and especially ones that, in a lot of times that infertility is put into media, it's then a magical baby happens and everything's fine, and this doesn't do that. This shows you this process of IVF, right? Is that how it's IVF or IVF? Sorry, I'm not well versed in it, but you get to see the process of it and the effects of it, and sometimes it's not going to work out, and you have to do a different route if you want children. And even though children plot lines are not my favorite plot lines, it makes sense for this one why there would be a baby plot line, and the way that they go about things. I wanted them to have clearer conversations. Like, they have conversations, but a lot of those conversations end up cut short and interrupted, but like, oh, everything's fine, and it's like, is it though? Because if I were in their shoes, I need a better conversation than that, you know? I need more. I still really liked this book. Are these books bigger than they need to be? Probably, I would say, especially for like contemporary romances. I don't know if I can count this as a contemporary romance, but it's still contemporary. There were certain moments in this that I'm like, I would have done this differently if I were in their shoes. But, you know, I'm not the characters. I don't really relate to the characters too much in this. But that's not a problem at all. Yeah, it's interesting. I wanted more conversations. That's it. I've said it like 5,000 times already in this. That's my review there. But I do like this one. It's weird because like we do get an ending, and I kind of am like, wait, but what about, but, because there's one character that we all hate, and I wanted to see suffer, but he doesn't. And he doesn't get his comeuppance, and I want him to get his comeuppance, and I was really hoping we could do something. But, I mean, the other comeuppance is that he just fades into obscurity, which is fine. But I really love confrontations in books. I'm a confrontation type of girl. At least in terms of other people. I'm not for me. But, I mean, I can be. I don't necessarily shy away from confrontation, but I need them more. Especially when there's like familial drama and stuff, I need more confrontations and more conversations, really. And I don't always get that. So I do think I'm gonna give this one probably a 4-star. I would say that. I'd say it's a 4-star duology in general. I am annoyed that I have the first book in paperback and this one in hardcover. That's annoying for me, but it's fine. Fine. But yeah, if you need a realistic romance of royalty, I would recommend these books for that. They definitely take on a much more realistic approach than just some like other ways that like have that kind of Cinderella story where it's a little bit more fanciful. This one has a lot more realism to it. So there you go. All right. We've done a book. I've got so many more books to read. And yet, I still am not reading another one on the TBR for the next book because it's due in 9 days. I am gonna keep chugging away and trying to read like a book a day almost. I kind of slowed with Kaikeyi and this one. I've gotten a little slumpy, even though they've been great books. I think the one thing that prevented me from getting through this one faster than I did, which I think 3 days? 3 days to read it? Yeah, it needs to be faster. Was just that I was so stressed out from this book that I didn't want to read it because I was scared of what was going to happen next. It's a long one, and so it's like there's enough time to have a lot of other things go wrong, and it was very emotionally tumultuous. There were parts in this that actually set me into my own deep depression when their relationship was on the rocks. And the sadness that was happening for them, it leaked over into my own life of kind of having these days of self-pitying loneliness and depression really seep in. So that was one of the things that happened with this one, is I really felt my own problems come to life, and that made me that prevented me from continuing reading it faster than I normally would have. But hopefully the next one doesn't do that. Hello everybody, it is August 16th and we have finished a book. I wanted to finish it in the day yesterday, but it didn't quite work out that way. But we finished it in 2 days instead, and that is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eileen. This is a brand new release. It is gorgeous. It's just one of the most beautiful books that were released this year, honestly. Honestly, it is. I had higher expectations for this one. I did really like the magic system because everything's about tea. And I really did enjoy seeing that take prevalence, because sometimes when you see there's a theme to it, you don't always get that so much into it. But the tea magic was very much integrated into this story. I know, I agree, she's enjoying her perch right now. And I didn't necessarily connect so much with the characters themselves. I didn't hate them. There wasn't anything wrong with them. They were kind of standard characters, I found. I was a little bit weirded by like there's this hint of relationship happening, but then things get torn up. And it's like, honestly, we could just talk. If we would just talk, things would be better. And we're still left hanging because this is at the beginning of duology. We do have a bit of a cliffhanger here for what's going on. There is this kind of horrible sickness going around that threatens her sister and has killed her mother and has killed several other people within the whole country. And she's going to this competition to become the Shenongshi, I think is what it's actually called. Is it Shenongshi? I'm really sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly. Read the book, you'll hear. Yeah, so there's this competition going on. There's a lot of plots going on about this banished prince who is trying to retake the throne, and there's the shadow stuff happening. There's a lot of different kind of little plot lines happening all around this one big plot line. So I thought that world building aspect of it was very well done, and I really like the magic system the most. I think that's the most I take from this. We do have queer princess in this, which is really nice. Good to see, good, and then no real drama there either. It's just kind of an accepted thing. I did like this. I definitely want to read the sequel to it and get the conclusion. It is a very nice book. It's just, for me personally, I just didn't connect as much as I was hoping to. I still liked it. So there's that. Huzzah! Woohoo! Yeah, there we go. On to the, now that was one that was not on the TBR. We're finally gonna get back into the TBR after this. At least the next 2 books are definitely TBR books. Because we have our classic we're gonna read next. We've got As Old as Time. And then I have a couple more that are not on the TBR. And we finally got Words of Radiance to drop, and I'm like, I think I've made mistakes here. We're gonna push through. We're gonna get this. We're gonna do this. Let's see. It'll be and Radio Silence we definitely will get to. It's just this Mortal Coil can keep a secret. I don't have to wait for them though. They're like ready. Hi. Yes, ma'am. Can I help you? Did you want to say something? I just cleaned her cage as well. Did you need something? What did you need? Hello. Hello. Okay. Where are we going? Okay. This side. This is our better angle. Yes? Better angle? Happy bird? Okay. Anyway, there you go. Another book done. Not on the TBR. Hello everybody. It is August 17th. We just got home from work. She's mad at me because I left her alone all day, but today we did finish listening to Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. And here's the thing. I've discovered a thing about why I feel like I'm not enjoying the Austen books as much as I love the stories. Like, I love these stories. Sensibility is one of my top 3 for Austen. It's probably my 3rd favorite. She wants to get into my dresser. We're just gonna close that. Okay. Because, yeah, the story of Sense and Sensibility is probably my 3rd favorite. It goes Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey, Sense and Sensibility. Okay? Those are my top 3. But, and see, the reason I hadn't actually, like, read this, I know the story because I've seen multiple adaptations of it, and I like the story. When I'm listening to it, though, and this is probably much different from when you physically read it, every time I listen to one of the Jane Austens via audiobook, they have this British woman reading it, and she reads it very matter-of-factly. There's no emotion behind them, so the romance is dead in these. You don't feel anything. You don't feel the drama or anything. It's just read very matter-of-factly, and I don't like that. And it's kind of ruining the experience. So maybe that's why I didn't enjoy Persuasion so much. Now, granted, there's a part of Persuasion that I don't like, but I do like adaptations of Persuasion. And same with Emma. Maybe that's a reason why I didn't enjoy them so much, because they're always read in this way that is just lacking emotion. So if you get her, because like I know the story, and then I was listening to one of the most dramatic parts, and I was comparing it to how it's been interpreted on screen, and I'm like, wait, why would you say it like that? You wouldn't say it just this way, and it made no sense to me that way. So I think that's an issue for me in reading classics, is the people who are reading the classics, the narrators, are not actually interpreting the emotion of the characters. They're just reading it, and that's a problem for me. So we still have Mansfield Park and Sanderson are the last 2 that we haven't read. I've never read either of them, and of the Austens as well. And I'm a little worried about reading them, about listening to them. I might have to physically read Mansfield and actually get the emotion, because again, it's something I've seen adaptations for, and I like it. And it's not my favorite, but this is one of my top 3. So I should like this. And also, one thing, Colonel Brandon's 35. Like, y'all know me, I don't really like an age gap romance or anything. But here's the thing about this. Okay, Marianne, yes, very young. He's 35. He is not an invalid, okay? He is not an old man. I'm 35, okay? I could marry Colonel Brandon, it'd be fine. Granted, if I was 17, that would not, it'd still be creepy as hell. But the way Marianne talks about him in the beginning makes him sound like he's on his deathbed. And I'm like, excuse you, 35, wait till you're 35, Marianne. Rude. Okay? 17 is not the epitome of being an adult. It's not even. You're a teenager. Rude. It's my minor rant to Marianne versus, because I like Colonel Brandon as a character. I don't like that he's super into a young child. That's a weird thing. But it is a product of its time. It was a very common occurrence. It's also one where it's like, it's acknowledged that, yeah, he's older than her, but there's also acknowledgement of how he's not a grooming pedophile, basically. He is into that type of guy. And so he's like an exception to the rule. It's still not my favorite. I still enjoy Eleanor's story much more. But yeah. Stop hating on 35-year-olds, okay? Just because we're in our mid-30s does not mean our lives are over. Does it mean my life is over? I hope not. You poopy. You have a puffy face right now. She's been enjoying herself under there. Anyway, hello, it is August 19th. I finished reading As Old as Time today, which is another Twisted Tale. This was the 3rd Twisted Tale that was published, and it is obviously the Beauty and the Beast retelling, which is What If Belle's Mother Cursed the Beast? And I gotta say, I mean, I did enjoy this one. I gave it 4 stars. It's one of the ones I like more. It's on the I like this one more than other ones side. Not my top favorite. Nothing's beaten Reflection. I think this one's probably my 3rd or 4th favorite. I think I like Reflection. I like So This Is Love. I like What Once Was Mine. I like Straight On Till Morning. And this one. I don't know if that's not the order I would put them in though. I think I like this one more than Straight On Till Morning. I don't know where I sit with it between this one and What Once Was Mine and So This Is Love. But it's in that vicinity of them. It's not Reflection material though. Reflection was absolutely fantastic. But I did like this. I liked, it didn't deviate too much. It just gave us a different kind of plot. Doesn't make sense. But like with the actual story of Belle being, you know, sacrificing herself for her dad and being the prisoner and, you know, gaining trust and friendship and then love with the Beast. We just get this entirely different, you know, villainous plot, which I really liked and I kind of like more. I'm finding that with the Twisted Tales, not only do, you know, I like them more as canon than what is canon, I find that a lot of them address the Tumblr issues. So what I mean by that is that Tumblr brought up a lot of issues in older, you know, in the older Disney shows about like one of them, like with Cinderella, with her just wanting a man kind of thing, or that's not what she was, but it kind of clarifies that. And with this one, it's with not liking a human beast for one, and taking on the Belle, like where's Belle's mom kind of thing, and those kind of questions. I feel like a lot of these Twisted Tales are just like people going on Tumblr and going, what problems do people have with the original material, and let's fix it. And that's kind of where the Twisted Tales have come from, which I don't mind. I'm glad they've addressed the issues. Don't get me wrong. I like that, and it makes me like the stories more than the source material. So it's a weird thing. I did really like this though. I was a little weirded out because I read it on audiobook. I listened to it on audiobook. And it is a male narrator. Granted, it was okay because I thought he did a good job with Belle's voice. And you also get Beast's voice, so it's not like it's solo. Belle's voice. Whereas like when they did that with Once Upon a Dream, that was weird because it was pretty much all female narrators, but it was a male narrator. Sorry, when I mean that, like, it was female voices, but a male narrating those voices. It was very strange. This one, it works okay. I wasn't as irked by it. I was like, wait, why do we have a male reading? But then I'm like, okay, we do have Beast. And he does a good Beast voice. I will give him that. Yeah, but I do like this. I like the world that we get built into more. I like the answers that we get. It makes a lot more sense. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Yay, another Twisted Tale. I still have more Twisted Tales to read. And more to acquire. I still don't own a few, and there's more coming out, but there it is. That's what we've done. She's so tiny. She's sleeping in her little... Are you gonna sleep there the whole night? Are you gonna sleep there the whole night? No, you're not, because I don't want to accidentally squish you. But she destroyed some cardboard, so there's like little flecks of cardboard everywhere, and that's a piece of towel. I let her kind of make a nest. You know, I'm just trying to let my bird live her best life, okay? Don't judge me for it. Hello all. It is August 25th, right? Yeah, it's the 25th. This is hilarious. It took me 10 days to get through Songs of Autumn. This is a tiny book. This is under 300 pages. And it took me that long to get through it. I'm just annoyed with my camera, for one. I'm disappointed as hell, honestly. I felt like this was really weak, and near the end here, it pulls so many tropes that I don't like. Number one, we have an insta-love. Number two, we also kind of have a love triangle that's underdeveloped and not a thing yet, but it's definitely leading that way. Number three, secret gay, immediately killed. Revealed that they were gay after they are killed. In a pointless killing. It felt very unnecessary. As we revealed another character was gay. That's how we found out that other character was gay. We have a kill your gays in this. The world building is fairly weak. It doesn't make logical sense to me, especially in the whole prophecy and stuff. Like, the thing in the very beginning of this book says that the princess is basically, she's literally supposed to die. That's what she's running from in this whole book, is she's supposed to be sacrificed in order to save the whole world. And she's supposed to be killed by this guy named the Dragon, who's supposed to marry her and then immediately kill her. Here's what I don't get. Why the marriage? Why? There's no purpose in it if he's just gonna kill her right away. There's no, especially because this is like a high fantasy medieval-y kind of world. Marriage is meant, especially in royal line, to continue said royal line. How you gonna do that if you just kill your bride right away? It does not make sense to me. It needs a better foundation in this whole thing. And I don't really care for any of the characters. We have Matt, who's our main guy. I really hated him in the beginning because of the way he treats this other girl, who also is still treated like shit when we see her again for the brief 3 sentences. Like, the boy treats her bad. He goes on, he's so back and forth with wanting to be honorable but also being an actual dickwad. I don't get it. And he, like, there's another character named Finn in here who's like his little brothery kind of guy. Not a real brother, but he's hurt, and Matt assumes it's this guy named Gareth, enter second love interest, that beat him up or whatever. Never confirmed. And later on, Gareth's like, yeah, I'm not the one who did that. We don't know who did that still. So why did little Finn say, or like let Matt presume that it was Gareth? Like, why? So it was just a tactic to get us to be like, oh, Gareth is kind of the bad guy or whatever. For no reason. For no absolute reason. Just to establish him as a rival. And it's a weak foundation for a rivalry that I find. We easily could have had the rivalry and done other things without painting Gareth as a guy who beats up kids, because he doesn't. And the hell, just the hell. And the whole time we have the character of Tia, who is our main character's bestie. Her backstory is not introduced for a really long time. It's very confusing. I don't understand it. And we go around saying that she's kind of a heartbreaker kind of girl, and is always going, and she's totally into all these other guys and stuff, and lo and behold, spoiler, she's really a lesbian. It's not really established whether or not she's lesbian or bisexual or anything, because she's fucking dead now for no reason. Sorry. Big spoilers. Big spoilers. I'm just kind of mad about this. And then we keep having these visions of Matt's death in this big battle, and we don't even get to see this battle. This battle does not happen. This book ends right before this battle. It should not have ended there. That is a terrible cliffhanger. And I don't mean them being like, oh, I hate cliffhangers. Like, no, that's a terrible cliffhanger. That's not where you cliffhang this. We should have at least gotten to the battle. We've been watching the visions of this battle the entire book. This book ended too early. And I don't even want to read the sequel because I'm not really into it. But it's just poor plot outlining, in my opinion. And I'm really disappointed by this. And I feel like a bitch hating on it. And I don't want to hate on it, but it's not for me. I didn't like it. It does a lot of things that I don't like. And that's my honest opinion. And I promised through all of these vlogs and all these things, especially with indie books, I would be giving my honest review. And this needed a developmental editor. And also, we use the word cacophonous so many times in this book. Like, I get it, it's a fun, fancy word. I don't need to see it more than twice, and I see it at least 5 times. I was trying to keep mental count of how many times we have used that term. But like, in 280 pages, seeing that word that many times was a no. That's a no from me. And like, I'm guilty of overusing words. I just feel like this, I don't know what editing process this went in. Do we say anything? Yeah, the beta readers and critique. Who were the beta readers in this? There was beta readers and critique partners. Who were they? That they didn't see that there was some issues with this. I want to know. Or maybe they did mention it and she chose to ignore. That's a possibility. I don't know, but I'm sad about this one. I was really looking forward to it. I had really, really high hopes for it, and I was sorely, sorely disappointed. So, there's my honest review. I literally can't really say it much that I enjoyed about it. Like, it was fine, prose-wise, but nothing spectacular. So, I don't really have many positive things to say, which is disappointing. Of the 3 indie books, this is not as bad as Promises Left for Dead, though. I'll tell you that. There's no plagiarism here. But, yeah. Oh, well. Hello, everybody. It's August 27th. We did it. We read The Big Baby. Oh, this took forever, but not as long as some other books that I read. Oh my, I can't even hold this. It's so thick. This baby is 1,080 some odd pages long. Ooh, I actually haven't looked inside to see this beautiful map we've got going. There's Alice Carr, all right. So we've got a lot. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. This big baby, you asshole, sir. How dare you? I loved this though. I liked this so much more than Way of Kings. Like Way of Kings, I was like, okay, it's fine. You know, it's a big high fantasy. This one, like, look at Shalon here. Look at my girl. It's your girl. Look at her. Of the Shattered Plains. Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it. Yeah, it's just, it's so good. I can't tell you really, you know, all the stuff that goes on in it because spoilers, major. Like things happen in Way of Kings, but I feel like so much more happened in this book than Way of Kings did, and I'm so scared for Oathbringer, which is the third one, and Rhythm of War, which is the fourth one, and then we're waiting on the fifth one to come out. But like, this is massive world building excellence, and there were so much more humorous moments in this one too, which is always something that gets me and makes me like a book more, is humor. And just the banter between Shalon and Paladin. I mean, Shalon in general is really great for banter in general. And, oh gosh, I didn't even know there's all these pictures and stuff inside as well. I feel like I've really missed a lot of things by audiobooking it, but there's no way I could get through this baby. I couldn't even hold this because it is so thick. Thick baby, but oh, just gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff happening here. There's our map again. So much. Oh, I missed one. I will sift through this again later. But there was just so many more things that I enjoyed about this book than I enjoyed in the first one. And so much more made sense to me because it took a lot of brain power to understand Way of Kings. For the longest time, I also think I wasn't quite in the right mindset for Way of Kings when I was reading it. So it was more difficult to understand like how Bridgemen actually operate and stuff. I was very confused about Bridgemen for a long time, and the Shattered Plains and how that actually worked. So I'm totally invested in this world now. I'm probably gonna give this, I don't want to say it's honestly a 5-star read, but it's definitely 4.5 material, I would think. I really, really liked it, and it's really good. It's one that, like, if you're gonna go into this, you gotta invest time, obviously, to do this, because this is so wet. Oh, and Shen's on the back. Okay, here's the thing. I love Shen. I like him a lot. I'm not supposed to. I don't know, he's kind of he's a villainous, he has villainous acts thrust upon him, but I like him a lot, okay? And I love Wit a lot too. But like, you're kind of supposed to love Wit for being witty and kind of a shit. And I love them. They're probably, I was glad. I was a little worried because in Way of Kings, Shen had more interludes. I believe we had more of him in interlude. Here, I think we only had Shen like one time for one of the interludes, POVs. And I really liked Shen in Way of Kings. And this one, you still get him, but not nearly as much, except for this last interludes and stuff, and I was very happy with that. So I'm just overall very happy with Words of Radiance, thank God, after reading a book that severely disappointed me. So we've done that. We've got 4 more to go. 4 more to go in 4 days. We still got these babies to read, so we gonna be... And I'm so busy this weekend. It's going to be a lot of listening during work. Thankfully, my job requires me to do a lot of computer work where I can listen to stuff while making spreadsheets. I am capable of that. That's how I got through last month. Hi, you coming over? Can I help you? You want to go under the covers. No, I gotta get dressed because it's wedding time. We have to go wedding time. We have to actually get dressed. I was just hoping to finish this. I was hoping to finish it last night, but I was so exhausted. Now, we're good. We're good. Let's start another book right now and get dressed and get makeuped and haired a little bit. Not gonna do too much. It's a casual thing. It's not really a full wedding we're going to. It's casual reception, super chill, but I still want to look out. Hello, this is for the other vlog. So hello, it's August 28th, and we have read a book, impromptu reading, because Lena bought a book, and I read it. That's how our relationship works now, right?
Yeah.
You buy the book and I read it.
You vet them for me after I get them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little novella called Cats of War by Carol van Natta. You can see how about that. It's only 113 pages, so easy to read while you're sitting at a table at a convention. And it's very fun. I did enjoy this quite a bit. Especially like, it says it's a slow burn romance. And I'm like, how do you do slow burn in 113 pages? Well, let me tell you, she did it. She did it well. And there's cats. But the cats don't come until halfway through the book, which is a little disappointing because, you know, it's literally titled Cats of War. I was hoping they'd be there from the get-go. But we do some really good, like, world building right off the bat for such a short book. There's some funny choice words in this for use of slang and curse words. I've never known someone to be a Nova hot man before, but now I'm using that. Who would you say is a Nova hot man?
I don't think it's possible because he would have exploded.
Fair. So there's a few characters who do that though, so I guess they're Nova hot.
That's true.
Yeah. But we have, like, instead of using the F word, we use like frelling and farking. Although the farking only happened that first time, and then it's frelling. Okay. So I don't know if that was a thing. There was one point in this where I'm not sure if the author meant to use the term intersex and meant to do something else with it, but it didn't seem to fit what they were saying. I'll let it slide.
Someone just needs to do a little research.
Little research on it. God, sorry, my arm is like no holding it up.
Yep.
Yeah, it was saying like they had the look about them to be intersex, and I'm like, that's not how it works, really. I'm not super well versed in intersex, but I'm fairly certain it's not a visual thing.
We'll be fact checking.
But overall, it was very fun. I really liked the banter that happens between the two main characters. I think that's really, really fun. And I do like their own internal monologues, because the story is about a guy who is like a military officer, and then the other one is an indenturee who is working but they both like each other, but they don't want to let the other one know, and they also obviously they can't because it's a superior officer versus criminal.
That could make a burn.
Gets a little rough there, but it's so cute and so fun. And the cats they have bat wings, and they're very, very helpful in the end. It's like, it's not like a huge plot, but it does have a really interesting like subplot of what activity is happening, why these cats are helping them kind of save the day. So it's a nicely condensed little novella. I think within her series. Where did I just put the card? The bookmark.
Oh, it's on the floor.
It's on the floor. Because she has other big novels, so I think it's part of her whole Galactic Concordance, Central Galactic Concordance. Yeah, it's this one. So we have a bunch of these if you want to see them, if it'll focus on it. Will it focus? No, it will not. Focusing. There we go. Good job, camera. So there's a bunch of stories in this. So space opera romance. That's what we've got it. So those are the big books, and this is a novella to go with it, and it's nice contained novella.
Yeah, and I think what she was saying was, you know, you don't have to read the other ones together.
It does enough of the world building that I'm like, I bet it's more established in the other books, but this was enough for a novella. So, well done. I think I'll probably give it 4 stars. Probably a 4-star read. You can have it back now.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. It is August 29th. And we finished reading Radio Silence by Alice Oseman today. I absolutely loved this. It was emotional turmoil, to say the least. We're gonna go over here. Hold on. Okay, so anyway, Radio Silence. This is one of Alice Oseman's actually one of her most popular ones. I remember years ago hearing everyone talk about it, and when I first read the summary, I did not expect what actually happened in this book. So the summary of it says that there's this guilty secret, there's a missing person, there's secrets about. I thought this was going to be like, I thought somebody had mysteriously died and someone was responsible for their death or something, to be honest. But then I was like, wait, this is Alice Oseman. So there is a missing sister in this. There is it kind of made me feel like I was back in reading Eliza and Her Monsters, because there is a secret creator of a very popular internet thing. Now with Eliza and Her Monsters, it's a very popular graphic novel on the internet, kind of comic, and this one is a very popular, very Welcome to Night Vale-esque podcast YouTube thing. And our main character, who is also a hobbyist artist, but also a super study machine, is contacted by the mysterious creator to do art for it, and she discovers who that person actually is and their own connection, and they become like the best of best friends, and it's a really beautiful story there. But there's of course drama in trying to keep the mystery, and how the internet is an awful thing that just won't let people live their own lives without, you know, invading their privacy and thinking they're entitled to certain things when you don't know what's going on. And there was a lot of moments where I was just like, oh, I want to punch people so much for how they were treating my babies. These are my baby characters now. And also the mom character. There's a mom in here that I'm like, we need to call the cops on this bitch. There is animal death in this, FYI. There is abuse, so trigger warnings for those kinds of things. But it does have a beautiful ending to this. It's a beautiful story. It's beautiful characters. Alice Oseman just has this amazing talent for creating very real characters and very real problems that are very relatable, and just, this is a beautiful story. She's such a great storyteller, and I am envious of her talent. So I really highly recommend any of her books. I don't think I've read a single book that wasn't a 5. Did I give 4 or 5 to Solitaire? I know Loveless was 5. Heartstopper's all 5. But I think all of her stuff so far I've read, I've absolutely loved. I still have to read I Was Born for This. That's her other novel. And I still have Nick and Charlie to get through. But I don't know why I haven't read it. Like, it'll take me 2 seconds to read Nick and Charlie, but I just haven't done it yet. I don't know why. I think I just am savoring all of the Alice Oseman, because like if I read it all, then I've read it all, and there's no more, and I need more. What's the next that's coming out? So yeah, I love this a lot. Love it a lot. Well done. We're gonna try to get through this TBR, man. On this TBR, I deviated too much in the beginning of the month, and I'm regretting that now. But we'll see if we can make it. We've got 3 more to go in basically 2 days, because we're about to go to bed. So hello everyone, it is August 30th. We finished reading This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada today, again on audiobook. We're getting through these. So I owned this book for forever. I feel like this was on one of my earliest book hauls. I'm gonna do a video later at some point comparing my like early book hauls and seeing what I've actually read from those book hauls, but I know this was one that I have owned for so long. When did this book actually come out? This came out 2017. Our card was for a dystopian. It certainly was that. It took me a little bit to get into this one. I'm giving it a 3.5 on the higher end. Because while it took me a bit to get into it and understand it, I did end up really liking this. I did like the characters, and the world building is very interesting in this. It's a little complicated. There is a lot of science talk in this. There's a lot of code talk and algorithms and genetics and things that I'm just like, whew. So that was where I kind of disconnected a little bit, because it was just unfamiliar territory, and it's definitely not, it's not modern tech at all anyway. It's very futuristic tech that doesn't necessarily make sense at all in our world, but that's because it is in its own little world here. I really enjoyed the plot twists. There were several plot twists in this that I did not see coming. I had interpreted some of the plot twists as being something else. I thought we were doing a different trope, but we didn't. We did another trope that I was like, okay, I can see them doing this, and that makes a lot of sense, and is very interesting. So I really appreciated the plot twists in this. I think above all, I think just the ride that I went on, especially for like the latter half of the book, I think was well worth the read. So it definitely does take a little bit to get into this one. I do think this one might be kind of an underrated dystopian. I think it, you know, it came out 2017. There were a lot of dystopians going around between in the 2010s era. So dystopian has kind of, I don't know if I can say dystopian's kind of died out right now in terms, but definitely marketability. I don't think there's a lot of dystopians that are being marketed right now. So reading them right now is kind of refreshing, to be honest, because we've been in a world of a bunch of other stuff on my card. Oh no. I'll pick it up later. But I like this. I like that we had a character as well. Our main character, Kat, is very logical, and she's smart. She is clever. She isn't, you know, so like she gets in helpless situations and has this other character who kind of acts as a protector to her. I like that they squabble a lot. I did enjoy their squabbling, and I just really I liked it. I think like I don't think I really have anything that I actively hated in this book. I think it just took me a bit to connect with it and just to get into the world building and get into the technology of this. I think there is a lot of tech talk that doesn't necessarily make sense to me, the reader, me, the not tech savvy person, at least in terms of code and genetics. But I do think it does a really good job. I get why the cover looks like this. For the longest time, I was wondering why we have this as the cover. Because I was like, okay, so we have a vaccine, we have a plague, we've got technology and stuff. Why this for the cover? I get it. And when you read it, you're like, oh. Now I know what that is. Yeah, there's that. So, woo, we finished another book, one that I've owned forever. We have 2 books left to go in one day. Now I'm almost done with another one. I spent a lot of time listening to it today. So we have about like 2-ish hours left to listen to that one. And then we have one more that is a shorter book. So we are hoping to get it done tomorrow. We are also hoping to write about 8,000 words, as well as work our full-time job. We'll see. Hello everybody, it is August 31st. We were hanging out on my head. We have just finished listening to Can Keep a Secret by Karen and McManus. We got one more book to go, guys. One more. We're gonna try to do it in a one-day thing. We'll see. So this is a mystery thriller, YA mystery thriller, and I've read One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next. This is outside of that realm. And I was hesitant going in. I honestly thought it would just be a 3-star because I'm not really a mystery thriller type of reader. That's not usually my jam. But Karen M. McManus is really good at just crafting these mysteries and trying to figure out who done it. And the whole while that you're reading this, I keep, you know, trying to guess ahead and trying to figure out who actually it was. And I never guess it. Well, no, I guessed it in like One of Us is Lying. That one was kind of easy. But I just hadn't, I could not figure it out with this one. So this one had, I think I like this one more than I like One of Us is Lying. I liked the main characters a lot more, and it had a lot of different intrigues because it follows a few different murders that have happened over time. And I wasn't guessing it. I wasn't guessing it. And even with the last line, we got a little whoa moment. So really appreciate that. It's fairly quick. I was trying to read it in a day, but I ran out of time. So it is possible to read this one in a day and just kind of pile through it if you're looking for more kind of spooky thrillers. Hi, did you want to say something about the book? What did you want to say? Anything? Okay, cool. Yeah, if you need them for more spooky season thrillers and stuff, I would recommend this or any of Karen and McManus. I still have a couple more on my shelf that I own from her. And she just came out with another one called Nothing More to Tell, I believe. So yeah, I do think, I don't really care for the covers though. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really vibe with them. It's not how I picture the character, although I don't know which characters these were supposed to be on the cover, to be honest. But yeah, I just realized it said 2 can keep a secret if one of us is dead, and it's like, oh yeah, that works. So cool. We have one more book to read for this month, and then we don't get punished. Let's not get punished. I don't know, because I still also have like 8,000 words to write, and I'm working right now, so I'm listening to audiobooks while I'm invoicing. That's how I roll now. Cool. Bye. Hello everybody. We finished the second book and the last book. It is currently 11:30 p.m. We had a half hour to go, but we finished In Deeper Waters. This was the last book I had on the TBR, and we did it. We did it. This is cute. It took me a little bit to get into it, and that might have just been because I had just come off of that thriller, and I was not ready for a fantasy, a gay, fantastical adventure. But it got me eventually, and I thought it was super adorable, and just kind of, this was a good one to wrap up the month of chaos with, because it was lighthearted, it was just fun and adventurous and gay, and you know, sometimes that's all I need to make me feel better about the world. Hi! Are you? Nope, we went right back in. Baby girl, what you doing? She has been under my covers for so long. Like, it's 11:30 p.m. Normally she'd be in bed. Baby. Hi. Good morning. We want to be in the bed. We just want to be. I'll put her in the bed anyway. So anyway, yes, In Deeper Waters. It's fantastical. It's adventure. I don't know how to say it. It's just fun fantasy gay adventure. That's what this is. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, what card was this even? Seafaring. It was definitely seafaring, and there was a lot of seafaring in this one, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. It's fun. It's a fun book. So we don't get punished. The potential reward is a reroll, so I get the reroll. We don't have to do the read before work, thank God. I hate that one. So we get the reroll. From the cards themselves, really quickly, because I haven't done this. I haven't had to do this yet. We haven't had to do rewards in a bit. So we did have 2? 1? Did we have 1? We had one sticker card, it looks like. I felt like I had 2. Maybe it was from the one I put for this one. So we get a roll for another reward. Real quick. So let's do it. Ready? Oh God. What do we got? Another fucking discard a prompt. You know what? I need to change that so bad. That's like one of the worst. It's just, I have 3 of them. I have 3 discard a prompts, and I never do it. I never discard the prompt, but that's what it says. We'll write it. Discard a prompt. There we go. That's our reward. We done did that. So now all these can go away onto the shelf. La. And you go down here we are filling this baby up. It's getting full. We got the book nook going in here. And yeah. We did it. Okay. That's the August vlog. August vlog. It's literally just reviews. It's not really the August vlog because Create-a-thon was going on. So you guys got all the Create-a-thon vlogs. Here was all the books that I read. 18 books in total that I did. You can see the stats in the September TBR. Enjoy. Honey, no, you're not chewing on my wall. That's not a thing we're doing, okay? Yeah. Ew. I see JK rolling in here. Balancing act. Terrible hair. Whoa. Hair. Glasses. Oh, I look horrendous right now. My goodness. Come on, Q. Get it together. Oh, you almost made it this time. You got to the windowsill. You didn't make the perch. Keep trying, babe.